Namaskar, I'm ModMonk Anshul and you're listening to Wisdom Tales on Wednesdays. We have heard so many times that it is important to know when to keep your mouth shut, when not to speak. Even after you know a lot of content or information, it is important to know when not to open your mouth and when not to speak. Same thing is being told to us through one of the beautiful Panchatantra tales of the talkative turtle named Sheru. There was this beautiful but very extremely talkative turtle called Sheru, and he lived near a deep lake in a forest. He would talk to everyone, extremely talkative, would speak to the elephants, to ants, to every fish, to everyone who came around. But Sheru loved to speak to two of his bestest friends named Palai and Kutti. Now, these three friends usually chilled around the lake in the evening and spoke a lot. One day they noticed that the water in the lake was drying up. It hadn't rained all year. All the animals in the forests were leaving the forest in search of water. Palai and Kutti also decided to leave. With a heavy heart, they came to Sheru and said, "Goodbye, Sheru. We have to leave because there is no water, there are no fishes. We cannot really eat anything. If we don't eat, we won't survive and we will die. So we have to leave because we need to eat." And at that same moment, Sheru said, "But why are you telling me goodbye? Without water, there soon won't be any fish, and this lake also would not be there. I also want to leave with you. I'll come with you." But Palai said, "We would love to take you along." Kutti also said, "You cannot fly, Sheru. How will you come with us? We are birds. We are geese and we fly." "Oh, that's not a problem," said Sheru. "We just have to find a sturdy stick or a log of wood. You hold the log in your beaks and I will hold it in my mouth. And then you can fly and I'll fly with you and we will all leave together." Palai looked worried. He said, "That's a very good plan, Sheru, but there's a problem. You cannot keep your mouth shut. When we are up in the air, you cannot open your mouth. You always need to keep talking, and that will actually land you into trouble." Sheru laughed. No, don't worry. I can keep quiet when it's important. I know myself very well. Don't worry, I know when to speak and when not to speak. It's okay, let's go. It will be a beautiful adventure. So these three friends left in the morning. Sheru was very excited. He had lived all his life on ground, and now he would see the mountains from the height. The tall elephants would look tiny from the sky. He wanted to discuss all this with his friends, but remembering Palai and Kutti's words, he kept his mouth shut. The three soon passed over a village. The villagers had seen geese flying before, yes, but they had never seen geese flying with a log of wood between their beaks. "What is this?" the villagers shouted. "Is that a ball that they are carrying?" they asked one villager. No, it's a bundle of clothes," shouted another. "Hey, what will this geese do with clothes?" laughed another. They didn't know what was actually hanging from that log. And at the same time, Sheru was very confused and irritated. What are these villagers blabbering about? He wanted to ask. And because his natural instinct was to talk and rectify and justify and cross-question and argue and of course gossip, he could not keep his mouth shut. And the moment he opened his mouth to justify and tell these villagers who that really was on that piece of log, he dropped straight on the ground. He hit his head on the rock and fell unconscious. Palai and Kuttu slowly came down to see what was happening. When Sheru actually opened his eyes and he regained consciousness, Palai and Kuttu were standing over him. Seeing Sheru confused, Kuttu spoke. You fell when you opened your mouth, even though we had asked you to keep it shut. Why do you not understand? The villagers were kind because maybe you were very fortunate. They took care of you and they left you near a lake, said Malay. Sheru looked around and it was a beautiful lake, of course. But he had hit his head so hard and it was hurting. He asked if they could stay at this place and called it home instead. And the geese mentioned this. They said, what about you? Sheru, what do you think? Can we stay here? Sheru had learned his lesson really well. He simply nodded without opening his mouth. Many times we do the same thing. We say we know a lot of things, but when it is not the right time, we open our mouths, we say things, we blabber things out. Even after we've been told to keep quiet. We might speak more than we know. We might speak in places that is not right for us to speak. We might actually end up speaking or thinking that we know a lot. And all of these things, incidences, situations, places or people, if you speak too much, you will land in trouble and you will fall on your face. Be very, very careful of what, how and whom you speak to and when you speak and how much you need to speak. Talking is extremely important, a lesson in spiritual journey. We spend the maximum amount of energy in our life from our energy source while speaking, and hence most of these enlightened masters speak about staying quiet, becoming completely silent for a few days in a month. It's important as it's an energy saver, a mind cultivator, and it's a beautiful way to actually regain the spiritual knowledge and wisdom. I hope you've enjoyed this story. I will see you next Wednesday with another insightful story. This is ModMonk Anshul, and you're listening to Wisdom Tales on Wednesdays.